All right. If you don't know the answer to the questions on the board, look them up on Google real quick. What are you working on, Gus? All right. Jack, what are you doing? All right. Let's see if we got some Zoomers here. We do. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And I would like to just get class started off with maybe a little bit more of a difficult question than usual. We do have 4 classmates that have made it to the final day here. They deserve a round of applause. Good job. Okay, shortest in-class year of your life. Maybe you'll be back in the spring. We'll see. Hopefully. We had good news yesterday. So, okay, those of you on Zoom, I'm going to share the screen, and I want you to try to answer one of these questions. Okay? If you did your intro at all yesterday, you probably understand this, but why were the Tang and Song dynasties considered the golden age of China? And what was the impact of the Mongol Empire? Okay. Again, we haven't talked about this yet, so I'm just kind of seeing what you know and don't know. Does anyone know a person named Tony Wells? Who is it? He did? Why is he trying to join my Zoom at 7:30? Huh? When would he have joined my class? Back here? Sure enough. All right. Welcome, Tony. Uncle Tony. Thanks. All right. So what I want you to do is try to put your answer in the chat function. Anybody in class figure one of these out? The first one you can always answer with a cliche statement anyways. But anyone want to take a guess at it? Tim, I know you're not sitting back there texting behind your computer acting like you're sneaky. You're what? You're what?
I'm not trying to hide it. I gotta take my grandma back real quick.
Okay. Tell grandma we said hi. Okay. Hopefully we get the classic answer here in the chat function. The Tang and Song dynasties. Correct. So Ian said the Mongol Empire left a huge impact on Asia and Europe at that time because they destroyed many empires. That is correct. And Wesley said the impact was that it got them more weaponry and consumer goods. That is true. And Ian also said because it was when China was at peace. Correct. And they made a lot of things that we use to this day. So that's good. Okay. For those of you in the room, You can see. Okay. All right. Well, clearly we got to get into some stuff then. So I'm going to split this up into 2 days if I can. There's quite a few slides and stuff to go over, and there's a little bit of like an activity in here too. So we're going to roll with that. All right. So, yes. Just kind of a review here. So we go back to what is called the classical period. That's when like Greece and Rome and the Gupta and India were around, and the Han had developed China into one of the larger trading empires in history. Okay. Well, what happened was one of the reasons why they grew so quickly was because of the Silk Trade Route. You guys remember that? Silk Trade Route brought goods kind of along this area that you would call Central Eurasia. So between Europe and Asia and north of India is the Silk Trade Route. Okay? So that's what made the Han Chinese and classical China so basically so rich. And obviously you see expansion as well. All right. Just like Rome, Han China fell about the same time period. And when it fell, it was about a 300 plus year period when there was nobody really to unify it. So you can see it was broken up into different kingdoms if you look at this map. And so 350 years, local dynasties ruled it. And this is when Europe was stuck in the Middle Ages as well. Can anyone on the chat, on the Zoom chat or in person, tell me who was expanding during this time period? Roughly 600 CE or so to about 900 CE. When Europe was in the Middle Ages, early Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, and China wasn't unified, who was thriving? Come on, somebody. These people who follow this religion, it starts with an M. The Muslims, the Arabs were coming out of Arabia and taking over a lot of the land that the former classical empires had control. All right, so in 589, China was unified again. And this time when they were unified, they brought back what was known the examination system. Okay, we call these the civil service exams. If you're taking notes, this is what you would want to write down. This examination system came back, and that examination system called the civil service exam would be given up until the year 1912. Okay, so up to 108 years ago, after it was restored by a short-lived empire known as the Sui dynasty. These exams are given for 1,000 years afterwards or longer. All right, so the question to that warm-up was China experienced an extended golden age, became the richest, most powerful, and most advanced country in the world. Okay, most of us don't think about that. What we think about is China being a kind of a faux communist state that makes a lot of products. Well, they've always made a lot of products, except the products that they used to make were really, really, really high demand around the world. And so that made them in extremely good position to trade and very, very wealthy. All right, so at the same time that they reunified, China starts to actually push outwards. You can see on these red lines. And this is the only time in history China does this, maybe except for the 21st century. They started buying up American businesses. China actually expanded, and they got all their boats went all the way to the southern coast of Africa. Okay, and this was in around the year 1400 with a guy by the name of Admiral Zheng He. Had they not shut him down, he might have found the Americas first, and we might be speaking Chinese. Never know. Interesting food for thought, though, on this cold Tuesday morning that we have here. All right, so during this time period, the reign of the Tang and Song dynasties, Korea, like I say Korea, because they were a mixture of the Silla, the Pechki, and the Kaguro unified, and they basically just tried to copy Chinese culture. So did Japan, and so did Nam Viet, or Vietnam. And so if you ever wonder today why Korea, Japan, and Southeast Asia have similarities to China, it's during this time period from about 600 CE to about 1000 CE when the Chinese basically were so dominant in the area that other places wanted to be like them. All right, so since the Japanese have made their own writing system, I think you have two systems, kana and kanji, I forget exactly. But one of them is characters, like Chinese characters, and then another one of them is more like letters, I believe. Don't totally quote me on that. It's been a minute since I looked at that. All right. This at the same time then, Gupta India became very, 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 very into the caste system. And so what happened is when India became ingrained in the caste system, this religion called Buddhism, which you guys remember the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama. Yes, he died obviously, but that religion then spread to China, which then spread to Korea and Japan and down into Southeast Asia and into Indonesia. Okay. And so that's one of the reasons why I think Buddhism is the fourth largest religion in the world today, about 400 million followers. But they're spread out around Asia due to the fact that they weren't really welcomed in India. All right. Technology was a huge thing that factored into the Tang and Song and would definitely change how the world worked. If it weren't for Chinese technology, like I said, I don't know if the Europeans ever would have been able to find the Americas and eventually take over about 80% of the world, which is scary. All right, so let's take a look at this technology. Okay, so I'm gonna put a piece of technology on the screen, and those of you in person, you guess what it is. Those of you on Zoom, I want you to in the chat function try to guess what you think it is. Anyone here got a guess? We got some pretty good guesses here so far. No one is correct yet. What did you say? Okay. This is what Luke Root said. And he is correct. This is a mechanical clock. Okay, all right, let's go number 2 here. Again, if you're not writing this stuff down, you're just going to remember it, I guess, and be able to go back to it because you have a quiz Friday. All right. I'm guessing you've seen this before at some point in middle school. Okay, we got a guess of a sundial, 2 guesses of a sundial, 3 guesses of a sundial. You got one? Any more guesses? Ben, are you out there? 4 guesses on a sundial. 5 guesses. All right. I'll put it in the chat function. This is a compass. Okay, magnetic compass, which obviously would affect how people eventually could sail off the coast. Let's go number 3 here. That's a good one. We got some good guesses. Everyone's pretty much close. Anyone in person get a guess? Anyone? All right. Firework, explosives, gunpowder. Yeah. Gunpowder was created during the Tang and Song dynasties. That's a big one. Job. All right. Let's go to the next one here. What's that? Good. Yep. We got in on Zoom and in person. We got this correct. This is a printing press. Okay, this is how books were made. The Europeans would copy this, obviously, and typically Johannes Gutenberg gets the credit for making it, but his was a mechanical printing press, but it came from China. All right. What could this be? Good. All right. We got it. Money. Paper money. Why is paper money important? Luke says so you can pay for stuff. If a piece of paper represents like 20 gold coins, isn't it safer to carry around that piece of paper than to carry around the 20 gold coins? Ian said, so you don't have to carry 5 pounds of metal and a goat. Yes, that's correct. All right, let's go 6. Oh, I shoot. That was a freebie. All right, so this is when they standardized or codified their writing system as well. I had a friend who memorized these. He has a master's degree in Chinese he taught it at Chinese university. It's really hard to do. All right, 7. We got a ship here, yes, but what kind of ship here is the important thing. Some might argue it's the type of thing you take to Goodwill. There's a hint. Let's see if my all-knowing, my mom, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let's see if the all-knowing student helper here can get it. What kind of ship is this? I'll put it in here for everybody. I mean, it is a ship, and I wouldn't expect you to necessarily know this, but this is what they called them. Chinese junks. I heard it. Why do you always get so offended? You see, Luke, is he getting worked up about nothing? Fine, didn't he? I know. So the Chinese junk. You'll see, and you guys said the right thing. Everyone said the right thing. I mean, think about it. You've got huge trading ships. So this could, by the time they stopped exploring, these were 400 feet long, 400 yards long. So 4 football fields long and about a football field and a half wide. And so think about how much stuff they could carry. They even had like private rooms inside of them where people could sleep and have their own like private cabin. They had rooms that they could flood and keep live fish and animal like crustaceans and stuff alive. It's pretty wild. All right. If you get this one, I will be impressed. It's pretty close, Zariah. Anybody in here? We have got pretty good guesses so far. Okay, Zariah, what would you need to get rid of chicken pox or the Black Plague?
Medicine?
Aha, close. Any guesses here? Bingo. Vaccination. Okay, so, I mean, vaccination essentially is giving you a small dose of the virus so that your body creates antibodies to defend it, right? I'm not a doctor, but I believe it works something like that. All right, let's go to 9. This is pretty classic Chinese right here. Excuse me? Yeah. Good. So this is silk weaving. So taking the spindles of silk and then turning it into, or the silkworm and then turning it into a piece of cloth that was in very, 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 very high demand around the world. All right, this last one has some personal connection to it, as I've had this and I've moved it around my house 6 different times since I've been married, and we've used it 1 time. It now sits in my garage in fancy boxes. Oh, somebody already said it. What's that? A hottie pot? What? Flower pot? Well, you can use them for flower pots. Ian said it here, porcelain. It's actually, so in the United States, they call it China now. You know, when I got married, my mom was like, you have to get those China dishes. You'll use them every Thanksgiving and Christmas. Again, we've used them 1 time, and they are still in their original boxes, and I just continuously move them around different places, and they never get used. But yes, Chinese porcelain. They made 3 colorware, pottery, porcelain. You can see the design on it. This was in extremely high demand throughout Chinese history, all the way up to the 1900s. Okay, same with silk. And Ian asked, how did they figure out how they could harvest the silk? This was something they had done, I believe, during like the Zhou dynasty, like 1,000 year earlier, maybe. I don't know the exact process though. You can do a little Google search if you'd like. All right. So kind of where I wanted to get to today though, the end of the golden age of China was basically when the Mongols, who were these horse riding peoples from Mongolia, are basically the steppes of Asia. They came in and they forced the Chinese to move south. And so that's why in your intro, you'll see one of the questions was, where did the Song dynasty move their capital? And that's Hangzhou, which is to the south. And that's why the Chinese started trading a little bit more on the ocean then, after about 1000 CE, because the Mongols started getting stronger and stronger. And then from about 1279, late 1200s, early 1300s, China was actually occupied by the Mongols. This is Only two times in all of Chinese history they don't rule themselves. One is the Mongols. The second one is a people called the Manchus or the Manchurians. And even though they do that, they still keep the Chinese traditions alive. So, all right, here's what I'm going to do. That's a good round 20 minutes. This is a lesson that I typically only teach. In the past I've taught to AP, but I want everyone to understand that China, even though they had some rough times here in the 20th century, basically from about early 1800s when they started losing what's known as the Opium Wars, all the way until they had a communist revolution, and then World War II hit and they were occupied by Japan pretty hard. China was in shambles, but they've spent the last 70 years going through some growing pains, but becoming arguably the largest economy in the world with the most gross domestic output. And a lot of people in the United States are like, oh, that's not right. Why does China, China's the scary menace and all this. It's like, well, if you know your world history, you actually know that this is what China did in the history of the world, and they were the wealthiest. It's just recent history, the last 150 years have been different, okay? But if you rewind a little bit past that, until the British could manipulate them by getting their upper classes strung out on a drug that's awful, opium, that heroin, basically, that we have a lot of problems with in our own country to this day. China dominated trade. So, and a lot of the products that would help the Europeans during the Renaissance and global exploration, which we'll talk about when we get back from Thanksgiving break or the beginning of January, like ships, the compass, gunpowder, flying money, the printing press, all of these will have a huge impact. And where do they really come from? China through the Mongols. And so tomorrow we'll talk about the Mongols and how they kind of, even though they get a bad rap in history as being extremely aggressive and terrorizing people, they also helped open up trade routes and made it safe to trade again so that the rest of the Eastern Hemisphere could get what the Chinese had. All right. Thanks. You guys did a nice job on Zoom today. I love the participation. Some of you, I know you are very smart. I know you can participate more. I just know it's early too. I'm going to just go ahead and show you this real quick here. I'm going to stop the share. And I want to go to I want to show you just on modules real quick so everyone has a reminder. If I can get there. There we go. All right, if you, I'm gonna share the screen and if everybody could look up here just for a brief moment. I have the wrong class pulled up. Way to go. Be number 2 today. All right. Modules, and let's go down to the bottom. It's where new stuff always is. All right, week 16. So this is due tomorrow, your intro after third period. So if you aren't done with that, you didn't get started yesterday because you had other stuff to do, make sure you get that done. Okay. African Kingdom travel brochure poster. This was last week. I've got 34 submissions. I had 29 yesterday morning. So that means only 5 people submitted that yesterday who said they were working on it. That means there's a lot more people that need to work on that and get it in. Last but not least then, If you remember right, I did. The notes from today are right here. In case you want to download that, you can just use that also as notes. And this practice quiz, this is what's going to be on the final exam over last week. So practice it if you have not, just for your own sake. Okay. All right. Anything else you want to turn in, please send directly to me. Okay. I'll take anything late, but you have to send it to me. I can't go fish it out of Canvas. Okay. All right. Thanks for your participation, everybody. Stay on here if you have a question. If not, you're free to take the next 15 minutes to relax a little bit or get other homework done or get your intro done.
Bye. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.